Megan Verikas was born and raised in Pittsburgh in a solid, loving family. Her parents were married for over 30 years, and Megan wanted a love like theirs one day. When Megan was in her 20s, she married, but unfortunately she and her husband drifted apart and divorced. This experience left Megan disillusioned and unwilling to embark on a new relationship. However, fate had a different plan for her. In the winter of 2014, Leon checked into a hotel downtown Pittsburgh, where Megan worked as a manager. Initially, she was not impressed by Leon's arrogance and apparent disregard for others. However, Leon's charm and persuasive tactics eventually wore down Megan's defenses. Against her better judgment, Megan decided to give Leon a chance. They started dating. Leon showered Megan with attention and affection, and she found herself falling for him. From an affluent and wealthy family, Leon attended an elite boarding school as a boy and teenager. He later became a transplant surgeon and achieved great success in his career. Like Megan, Leon faced challenges in his love life, as he was in the midst of a divorce when they first met in 2014. However, as Megan and Leon's relationship progressed, their connection deepened, and they discovered mutual attraction. Leon made Megan believe that she deserved the best that life had to offer. Eventually, Leon made the decision to move back to his hometown of Houston and asked Megan if she would be willing to accompany him. Although she loved her life in Pittsburgh, Megan was ready for this change and eager to take the next step in her relationship with Leon. Upon her arrival in Houston, Megan began looking for a job and found it working as a sales agent in a local hotel. The experience allowed her to explore a new city and develop her independence. Megan rented an apartment in Houston after she and Leon relocated there. Leon moved in with her, and shortly after, they opened a joint bank account. This step was significant for Megan. It made her feel their relationship was moving quickly. As a self-reliant woman, she initially struggled with sharing finances with someone. However, a part of her saw this as a sign of Leon's care and potential future for the two of them as a couple. When Megan met Leon's family, they instantly hit it off. Megan found herself envisioning Leon as her future husband. Despite living far away from her family and friends in Pittsburgh, Megan thrived in Houston. She made new friends and adopted a dog, which brought joy to her life. Online, Megan and Leon projected an image of the perfect relationship. They shared photos of their adventures, romantic dinners, and moments of happiness. However, what was seemingly perfect on the outside began to reveal cracks on the inside. Leon found himself unable to practice medicine in Texas as he did not have the license to do so. This setback significantly hindered his career aspirations as a transplant surgeon. Leon felt undervalued and discouraged by the perceived demotion from being a surgeon to a mere surgeon's assistant. He refused to accept the role, finding it beneath his acquired skills and knowledge. As time went on, the strain caused by Leon's inability to practice medicine began to take a toll on their relationship. Megan, who had sacrificed her independence for the relationship, found herself feeling disillusioned and misunderstood. The cracks in their relationship grew deeper, and it became clear that their paths were diverging. While Megan still clung to hope for their shared future, Leon's unwavering dissatisfaction with his current situation made it increasingly difficult to reconcile their differences. Instead of actively looking for a job, Leon chose to rely on Megan's income to support their household. This burden placed immense pressure on Megan. With the added responsibility of breadwinner, Megan's frustration began to mount. She felt a growing resentment towards Leon as she realized she was shouldering most of the financial burden. The constant pressure of being the responsible one in the relationship took a toll on her mental and emotional well-being. In a moment of frustration and anger, Megan expressed her frustrations with Leon in front of his family. This impulsive decision turned out to be a misstep, as it only heightened tensions within the couple's relationship. Upon returning to their apartment, Leon's anger escalated, resulting in an outburst of violence that left Megan in a state of shock. Leon's violent behavior reached its peak when he tore through Megan's closet and hurled all of her clothing items off the balcony. This act of destruction left Megan feeling violated and helpless. She was unable to comprehend the situation. Over time, Leon's anger towards Megan escalated from verbal insults to physical abuse. He exhibited a pattern of behavior that included throwing the glass bottle he used to spit tobacco at Megan, humiliating her and calling her awful, demeaning names. The abuse seemed to be becoming more and more frequent, leaving Megan in a constant state of fear and anxiety. Despite the abusive behavior, Leon often expressed remorse and professed his love for Megan. He would claim that she was the only thing that brought him happiness, and that he was sorry for his actions. However, these apologies were short-lived, and the cycle of abuse continued to repeat itself, leaving Megan feeling trapped and alone. On January 12, 2017, Megan returned home after a long day of work at the hotel to find Leon in a bad mood. Frustrated by some unknown reason, Leon threw a glass of wine at Megan. After enduring years of abuse, Megan had reached her breaking point. She decided to confront Leon and put an end to the toxic relationship. Megan, done with the cycle of abuse, approached Leon and told him that she was leaving him. Determined to make her escape, she packed her bag and prepared to leave. However, Leon was not about to let her go without a fight. As Megan started to walk away with her suitcase in tow, Leon stormed into the bedroom and approached her. With his hands covering her face, he tried to physically restrain her from leaving. Terrified by Leon's behavior, Megan found herself trapped. She knew the situation was escalating and had to make immediate action to escape. In desperation, Megan grabbed her dog and rushed out of the bedroom. Leon pursued her as she ran down the driveway, pulling on the car door to stop her. With determination, Megan closed the door and escaped into the vehicle. As Megan tried to drive away, Leon continued to chase her, determined to prevent her from leaving. Frustrated and angry, he threatened to break the window of the car if she didn't open it. Terrified for her safety, Megan refused to comply and continued to drive away, putting as much distance between herself and her abuser as possible. The following day, as Megan reported to work at the hotel, it was evident that she had been crying. Her concerned friends and coworkers noticed the change in her demeanor and approached her seeking answers. When prodded, she broke down into tears and spoke about the abuse she had been experiencing at Leon's hands. Megan's friends and coworkers were shocked to hear the truth about her situation. Throughout the day, Leon kept contacting Megan through various means, sending her erratic messages. In some of the messages, he would profess his love and express his remorse, indicating his desire to propose. However, Leon would abruptly declare that he was done with her in others. As the day progressed, Megan grew tired of Leon's constant badgering and requested that he leave her alone. However, to her dismay, she discovered that he had drained their bank account. Upon returning home to their shattered apartment, Megan was horrified to discover all her furniture was gone. Fortunately, she had managed to reach home before Leon had the chance to dispose of her clothes and personal possessions. Megan quickly headed to the police station to file a report against Leon, accusing him of assault. She also applied for a protective order, but the process took some time. Several days later, as Megan was leaving her apartment for work, she glanced in her rearview mirror and saw Leon behind her. Panic-stricken, she sped through the city trying to lose him. However, Leon was determined to keep following her. He cut Megan off, forcing her to stop abruptly. Leon got out of his car, and as he approached Megan, telling her she was making a mistake for leaving him, she swerved her car and managed to escape. Leon's actions were so disruptive that the hotel she worked at banned him from the property. However, Leon's determination to pursue Megan led him to lurk outside the building, causing unease among her colleagues and friends. One of Megan's friends took it upon themselves to confront Leon, chasing him across the street and yelling at him to leave Megan alone. The harassment continued, and Leon's persistence ultimately led to his arrest for assault. However, he was out of jail the very next day. Despite legal consequences, Leon's behavior did not deter him. Megan was forced to appear in court 2 weeks after his arrest with Leon. During this court appearance, the judge granted Megan an order of protection against Leon. Valerie McDaniel, a successful veterinarian in Houston, was sitting in the gallery, observing Leon's court appearance. After 19 years of marriage, she was divorced from her husband, Mac. Megan and Valerie had always been friendly with one another, but their bond deepened when Valerie was going through a difficult time in her divorce from Mac. Over bottles of wine and martinis, Valerie confided in Megan, and the two formed a strong connection. After Megan found out Valerie was on Leon's side in the court, she was completely stunned. What shocked Megan even further was the discovery that Valerie had played a role in posting Leon's bail. According to the bail bondsman, Leon had asked for his assistance in securing another client named Zach. He informed the bail bondsman that he had given Zach a significant amount of money to handle a problem. Leon's exact words were, "She's got to be out of the picture. I can't have her come to court and testify against me." The bail bondsman found Leon's words to be scary, as they raised suspicions about the possibility of Leon hiring someone named Zach to murder a witness in a case against Leon. Given his close friendship with the local city council person and the Houston police chief, he decided to reach out to them and share his concerns. By the end of February 2017, Megan finally felt a sense of safety, having left Leon behind and obtained a protective order. However, this sense of security was short-lived, as she was contacted by a detective who informed her about a credible threat to her life. Unsure of what to make of this information, Megan met with the detectives the following day. wearing a wig, hat, and sunglasses as a precaution. The detectives informed her about the tip they had received, informing her that they needed to surround her with police until the threat against her was taken care of. They advised her to go to Pittsburgh for safety. Megan packed a bag and left Texas right away. The detectives with the Harris County District Attorney's Special Crimes Bureau were tasked with the investigation of Leon Jacob and the alleged murder-for-hire plot. As they delved deeper into the case, they discovered a surprising fact about Leon. He was a doctor. This revelation surprised the detectives, as professionals such as doctors are not usually seen involved in criminal activities. While searching for the person Leon had mentioned working alongside him, the detectives were able to uncover Zach's identity. However, what they found was that Zach was Motaz Azah, or Taz for short. After interviewing Taz, the detectives discovered he was not a hitman, but knew Leon. Taz admitted Leon had approached him with a request to eliminate his ex-girlfriend, Megan. However, Taz clarified that he had never intended to harm Megan and merely sought the financial gain that came with the job. Taz divulged to the detectives that Leon had been in frequent contact with him, as Leon was still insistent on having the job completed. The detectives then approached Taz with an offer to work with them to capture Leon, and Taz agreed to aid in the effort. With Taz's cooperation, the detectives were closer to bringing Leon to justice. Their efforts were focused on apprehending Leon and preventing any danger to Megan, while also ensuring the safety of everyone involved in the investigation. Leon and Valerie met Taz several days later at a local Olive Garden. They were accompanied by a man named Adam, who was introduced to them as a potential hitman. Little did Leon and Valerie know that Adam was actually an undercover police officer. During their conversation, Leon mentioned some ideas about how to take out his ex-girlfriend Megan. One of his suggestions was to have the hitman give her a lethal injection of potassium chloride, which would stop her heart. Leon believed this method would be untraceable, making it less likely that the police would suspect foul play. Leon also divulged that Valerie, a veterinarian, had access to this drug through her clinic, and suggested that Valerie could provide it to the hitman, making it easier for him to carry out his plan. Leon made it clear that Megan was not the only person he wanted out of the picture. He had additional targets in mind, and seemed eager to involve Taz and Adam in his schemes. According to Leon, Valerie's ex-husband Mac was the worst person he had ever met. Leon expressed his desire to eliminate Mac as well. Valerie approached Adam, the undercover officer, and confided in him about her situation. She told him Mac was planning to take her daughter away. Detectives working on the case approached Megan and Mac and asked them to participate in a fake abduction and murder. Their objective was to create a staged crime scene and take photos so the undercover officer could show Leon and Valerie. Reluctantly, Megan and Mac agreed to cooperate. In order to make Mac appear as though he had been executed inside his car, the detectives covered him in pig's blood. Recognizing Leon's profession as a doctor, the detectives took extra measure to ensure Mac's appearance was as convincing as possible. They carefully staged his scenario to make it appear as if he had suffered a fatal gunshot wound to the head. Meanwhile, the detectives opted for a kidnapping scenario for Megan's situation. They zip-tied her hands and feet, securing her tightly, and covered her mouth with duct tape. Throughout this process, Megan became increasingly panicked and cried, realizing the man she intended to spend her life with had paid someone to murder her. The staged situation became all too real for her, as she realized she was now a pawn in the detectives' plan to catch Leon and get him arrested. After the staged photos, Adam, the undercover officer, texted and called Leon to inform him that he had taken care of Mac. He then proceeded to show Leon the images he had captured. The undercover officer then revealed that Megan had been kidnapped, but unfortunately, there was no reason with her. Further, the undercover officer expressed that Megan was unwilling to leave the state and stop pursuing charges against Leon. As a result, the undercover officer concluded that he would have to kill her in order to resolve the situation. Several hours later, the police arrived at Valerie's apartment with their body cam footage rolling. The officers informed Valerie, who was there with Leon, that they were there to tell her that her ex-husband Mac had been killed. However, the officers knew it was all part of a ruse, and Mac was safe. After the officers told Valerie and Leon the news, they tried to feign surprise. Without prompting, Leon said he and Valerie had been home with Valerie's daughter all day, providing an alibi even though no one questioned him. Leon's statement seemed rehearsed and suspicious. Leon and Valerie were arrested for solicitation to commit capital murder. The officers who arrested the couple revealed that Mac and Megan had not been killed and were both alive and well. Leon pleaded not guilty. 3 days after Valerie was arrested, she was released on a $50,000 bond. Many of Valerie's friends believed that she would never have ordered a hit on her ex-husband if Leon Jacob had not influenced her. According to her friends, she wanted love and attention, and Leon used his predatory ways to brainwash her. Valerie's friends believed Leon manipulated and used her for his own gain. They thought Leon's power and control over Valerie led her to commit the crime she was arrested for. Valerie's friends described her as a loving and caring person who was always willing to help others. Her loved ones expressed shock at the idea that she would do anything to harm her ex-husband or his loved ones. They said that Valerie's desire for love and attention blinded her to the consequences of her actions. According to Valerie's friends, Leon was a controlling and manipulative individual. Valerie's friends said he often used his charm and charisma to get what he wanted, including manipulating those around him. They believed that Leon was controlling Valerie's emotions and actions to ensure he got what he wanted. 2 weeks after Valerie's release on bail, she took her life by jumping off the balcony of her 7th-floor apartment. She was due to appear in court the following day. Before Valerie took her life, she recorded a video on her iPad, telling her side of the story regarding the murder-for-hire plot that led to her arrest. In the recordings, Valerie asserted that the police entrapped her and that she had never intended to harm Mac, her ex-boyfriend, and the father of her daughter. As the news of Valerie's death spread, her loved ones were shocked. When Leon, her incarcerated lover, learned about her death, his attorney stated that he was devastated. Leon viewed Valerie as a wife and had asked the judge to allow him to attend her funeral. However, his request was denied. In 2018, Leon Jacob went on trial for solicitation to commit capital murder. The defense argued that Leon did not mean to hire a hitman to murder Megan, but rather hired a private investigator to help the couple reunite. They claimed that Leon was not attempting to harm her. However, the prosecution refuted Leon's claims and presented recordings to the jury where he suggested killing Megan with an injection of potassium chloride. Additionally, graphic staged crime scene photos depicting Megan and Mac as would-be victims were shown in court. Ultimately, Leon was found guilty of 2 counts of solicitation to commit capital murder. He was sentenced to life in prison in order to pay a fine of $10,000.